Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Vobes One-Eyed Kenobi showy with me, freshly shaven just for the show, Richard Vobes. Hello. Oh, there we are. I've just had an indication that I am live and well. My phone is up the blink. It's up the blink. I don't know what's the matter with it. Won't connect to the internet at home. Bloody thing. Won't connect. So I've had to buy a new one. I haven't had to buy a new one. Bought a second-hand one. Hello to Sean James Cameron, who's just tuned in, and to Audrey Forbes, and to the lovely Judith. Good evening to you. Nigel Sadler. Hello, matey. And Ernie. Tally-o, Richard. What a scorcher today's been. Worse on the Morco. Oh, the morrow. Worse tomorrow. I hope not. I'm out filming tomorrow. Mind you, I am filming in an oven. No, not in an oven. I'm filming in the Sahara, where it'll be a little bit cooler. No, in a forest. I'm actually doing a bit of forest bathing. Not COVID bathing for a change. I've done a bit of COVID bathing earlier this morning in the supermarket. Sloshed it all over me. It was all very nice. It's a little bit tickly at times. But mostly... Beep. Hello, I'm Richard Vobes. Mostly, I am a robot reprogramming. I am a reprogramming robot, but mostly it's all right. It's quite smooth. Yes, freshly shaven tonight. Apart from round on my head, don't look at that too much. It's all a bit weird. Linda Kane is here, and Andrew Murphy, Days of Yore, and Kerry Baldwin, and Kate Evans. Hi, how are you? I've been so busy with my animals, she says. Ah, yes, those lovely little hamsters, koalas, and kangaroos that get posted through your letterbox. I do feel sorry for them. Jeff Kellison says, I'll trade with you. It's 109 degrees centigrade where he is. 109. You are actually, the blood is boiling. Where you are. 109 degrees centigrade. I can't believe that is very hot. Fiona Hammond, sorry, say hello, Julia. Say hello, Julia. Fiona, thank you so much for my jumper, by the way, that came in the post the other day. Fiona knitted me a lovely jumper, but I can't wear it. I can't. I've tried it on, and I took it off fairly pronto, because wearing a fresh, real wool jumper, as you can imagine, in this weather, was a little bit hot. Just a wee bit. So I took it off. Had to. But it's very nice, very dashing. And as soon as the temperatures drop, I will model it for you. Ron Langley's arrived, and Michael White, formerly known as Angel. But he'd been watching too many episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and found that they were all after him. Buffy? I'm Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Hello, I'm Buffy. You can imagine Buffy coming from somewhere up north. Hello, it's me, Buffy Vampire Slayer. I am. Oh, aye. And what I've come to do is slay vampire. Now, I need a stick with a pointy end so I can drive it in vampire's heart. You haven't got one, have you? If not, a lovely picket fence will do. I just take out one of them bits and smother it in garlic. It's lovely when it's in garlic. Sometimes a white wine sauce is all right with Cliff Richard hanging on the end. That gets rid of vampires no end. It's lovely. Yes, sorry about that. Kate Evans says, can you say hi to Mark Flinders from Kate, 'cause I'm his wife? Yes, of course. Hello, Mike Flinders. Is it Flinders? Is that right? 'Cause I'm his wife? I'm not his wife, and you understand that was a lie. I'm not really his wife. But his wife is saying hello to... It's a bit like on the radio. Did you ever listen to those Sunday shows when they, the Sunday Love show on BBC Radio 2? I think it was Steve Wright used to do it. And people would write in and they'd say, hi, Steve, tell my wife that I love her. And you'd get these requests. Hi, Steve, I'm on holiday with my lovely wife. Do tell her I love her. And you just think, well, tell her yourself. What, you wouldn't ring somebody up and go, oh, hello, Ray, what are you doing? Oh, you're down a pub, are you? Yeah, any chance you could just get to a phone, pay phone probably, put on a bit of a disguised voice, pretend you're a DJ on the radio. Could you just ring up Martha? Yeah, no, that's right, Martha, my wife. Yeah, you know the number. Yeah. Well, obviously you've got to wait till I put the phone down. I'm going to go outside for a bit and just tell her you love her. All right? That would be great. Because you see, the trouble is, my wife's got this vague impression that Steve Wright loves her. Yeah, I don't know why, but that's Steve Wright. He loves everyone, doesn't he? He's on the phone, he's on the radio, and he says, "Oh yeah, I love so and so, and I love so," and yeah, all right, mate, bye. That's nobody ever does that. And have you noticed he never actually does that, does he? On these programs when they say, "Hey, Steve, would you tell my lovely wife Wendy that I love her?" And he goes, "Yep, thank you very much for that." He doesn't have an American, but let's say he's an American because I've done it now. "Oh, thanks very much for that. That was little Orinoco from Orinoco." That's right, because the DJs on the radio don't hold the phone up. They're talking into a microphone a bit like me. But they never actually go, "I love you, Wendy. I love you." They never do that, do they? They just go, they just read it out. "Dear Gerald, on Radio 6, could you tell my wife I love her? From Bob." Well, that was from Bob. Let's see if we can find another one. They never do it, do they? It's like, never turns around and says, "Well, Geraldine, Bob would like me to tell you that I love you. I love you so much. I love you more than you can possibly know. Mind you, I also love Rebecca and Helen and Rachel and Michelle and Geraldine and Gilbert and Arthur and Fred." This is getting a bit silly now, isn't it? This is getting somewhat silly. Yeah, anyway, so I don't know how we got into that, but I've happily done it. We've got more people have arrived, which is very nice. Can you sit spatially apart? It's not for anything to do with COVID. It's just sometimes my voice bounces off the wall 3 decibels too much. And if you sit spatially apart, it makes all the difference. It might make your hair bounce, but just take that as an added extra. You can bottle it and use it later at night when you can't sleep. Steve Granger's arrived. He says, "I'm a new viewer. Give me preferential treatment. I've got the new viewer's card. I was sent in here by mistake. I wanted to actually listen to some other YouTuber, but they were a bit busy and there were no seats left there. So I've come in here. Is that all right?" Of course it is. You are welcome with open arms. Look how open my arms are. They're genuine. I'm so genuinely open. Look at that. Look. No, really, that means that I'm like that. Only if I go like that, my hands get chopped off by invisible arm choppers, which are either side of the frame. And if that happens, I'm armless. Well, handless, really. The Germans won't be able to call me Hans. Evening, says the lovely Linda Kane to Julia. Joseph had a good birthday. Oh, yes, it's Joseph's birthday, ladies and gentlemen. There will now be a moment of silence whilst everybody wishes Joseph a happy birthday. Just wondering if I can make this moment of silence last 60-odd minutes. Saves the brain from coming up with ideas, you know. Could just sit here. If anybody's got a birthday, actually, I could do this every time they've got a birthday. I could just go. Because everybody will be chatting in the chat room now. This is how it works. The people will be chatting in the chat room going, "Oh, happy birthday, Joseph. Do send in my best wishes," and all of that. And I could, whenever we get them in, I could just sit here and just say, be the birthday special, couldn't it? Whoever's, when Linda Kane's birthday comes up, we'll all wish her, and I'll sit here for stony face. I'll just have to put my stoniest face on. Like that for about 60 minutes. And then go, "Well, that's all we got time for, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for listening. Goodbye. And then the money will just pour in and I will get rich. And what will I do with that money? Ross Corbett's here. Hello, Ross. Ross Corbett, open. Whoa. Ha! Do you see that? The machines, they started up. You see, they're silent machines. They're run on a very silent belt. It's that new technology that they have out at sea. It's called Shave a Seagull with a Giant Fan. Seagulls come flying in, the giant fans actually out there, they don't really move fast enough. They go like this, don't they? And the birds come flying in going, well, if you really want to, I've just ducked down, I've got some fish, I've got my head wet. If you really want to dry me off, you'd think these fans would go a bit faster, get a bit of a gale. Doesn't work like that. Anyway, happy birthday to Joseph, who's 1 year old. Michael White says, Linda Kane says, looks like Trump. He doesn't look like Trump. What a thing to say. And Kerry Baldwin says, happy birthday. And everyone's saying happy birthday now. I was up my animals. Were you? We don't want to know about that. I remember James Herbert with his long arm. Yeah, we don't want to go down there, thank you very much. I was up early. I was up my animals early on, and my cat got onto my back because he wanted some fussing too. So I got a other arm, and I went zoom, and the cat's eyes went woohoo! Pinged off, and now they're in the centre of the road. If you could find them, don't get confused with the other cat's eyes, which are also in the centre of the road. Nigel Sandler says you could play a birthday jingle. Of course I could. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. And that's not cheap television or YouTubing, by the way. That is craftsmanship. That is, the old art. Instead of going to the shop and just buying something like a jingle off the shelf, that's all orchestras and too professional for your own backside. This is like homemade. There was a time when, I don't know, a soldier would come back from the front and happy birthday to you. Somebody insistently wants to, I've done this show before, and people have just rung in on their own volition. I don't know what it is. Let's find out who it is. I bet it's... Have you had an accident? Hello?
Hello?
Have I had an accident? Please tell.
Have you?
Yes. Yes, I've had a terrible, dreadful accident. Oh, my knobbly knees dropped off.
What a shame.
It is a shame. Is that Kevin Hall?
I'm afraid so, sir. I thought I'd ring in and disturb you.
Oh, right. OK. Well, no need to worry. I'm already disturbed.
Well, that's been said before, but let's not go there.
All right, then. Please disturb me away.
Well, I thought I'd ring in because I listened to should I mention this on the Vobes show, the Naked Englishman this morning?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And
32 minutes.
yeah, that's the half-hour special. That's the half-hour special. You've been having a few 10-minute ones.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And this is to spoil you or bore you. I forget which it is. I have to look at the contract.
We enjoy every minute, Richard.
Do you? Endure, I think the word is.
Yes. Richard, your van. I'm very, very pleased to hear that you're talking about going for a van. Now,
it's funny you should say that. I don't know if Turbo Stream is out there, because Turbo Stream said to me, Richard, I've been listening to your Naked Englishman. You're talking about a van. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, anybody who doesn't know what the Naked Englishman is, it's a sort of podcast that I do for the people who support what I do. So if you support financially what I do, in other words, if you give me £100 a week or 20,000 an hour, you get this piddly little podcast that sometimes is too long for your inbox. And in that one today, I was talking about a van, and Turbo Stream said, don't get a van. It'll be nothing but trouble. You'll have the police moving you on at 3 a.m. You'll look like a pikey if you turn up at the holiday camps. And he said, it's a waste of time. You're wasting your time, he said.
Well, each to their own.
But I'd like to get a positive take, because I went, oh.
Since you first mentioned about getting a camper van or a van of some description months ago, I thought that was a really good idea, a very positive step, because you're on about taking the Ball Explorer to the next level.
I am, yes.
And I think this will give you the freedom to be able to do what Richard Vobes, the Ball Explorer, does best, and that's explore this country.
Yes. If only the country would come to me, But
that's
it doesn't.
going to be difficult.
Yeah. I was thinking, actually, because when Turbo said that, he said, oh, my ears are burning. No, I said, I don't. He said, don't buy a basic van. Do it properly, is what he said. Well,
Yeah, exactly.
and I am taking him out of context only for ruse and entertainment purposes, like I do with everybody. But listen, before you go on, I was thinking, when he said that, I thought, what are those little things that dangle between your legs if you're a man? Yeah, I said that out loud, starting with a B.
Yeah.
And it rhymes with Rolex. Anyway,
that's the one.
So I said,
you need to get them. Grab hold of them.
Then I had to go and sit down for a bit.
Yes.
Because the stomach was pumping. Anyway, I thought what I need to do then, if a van is no good, what I need to do is to get a second-hand milk float. A second-hand milk float. You could see me speeding on the M1.
Now, then you would get pulled over by the police.
Yeah, what's this milk float doing on the hard shoulder? Run out of electricity. I've got my AAAs in there. I've got my AAAs. Surely, why won't it go? Why won't it go? Come on, you little thing. So go on. So you reckon it's a good idea?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. As I say, that's what you do. You're the ball explorer. You go out into the countryside and you're exploring so much of Sussex.
I am
but
too
when
much.
you went into Wiltshire last week and the videos were great. But by getting a van, a sensible van, it will give you the freedom to be able to go and explore whenever, wherever you want, for as long as you want.
Yeah. Apart from being moved on at 3 a.m, of course.
Well, it depends where you could park, of course. If you park at the side of the M1 at 3 o'clock in the morning or the M6 or wherever, then they will move you on.
I was going to park on your front garden.
Yeah, I'll have to move the flower pots. Oh. But I think it's great. But the other thing about it is when you get one, make sure you get one where you can put an awning on the outside.
Right. Okay.
Because when you've got, a reasonable, nice evening or something like that, rather than being stuck in your van, you can sit outside with a little table, little chair. You can sit, you can relax, you can read your books or do whatever you want. Because it just gives you that little bit of extra room. So, and I think that it will be such a positive move for you to be able to do that, and I think you'll pick up more followers and supporters from it.
Yes, I think you're right. I do think you're right on that. I mean, I think I looked at some van YouTubers and they had like 50,000 views, and each of their videos were getting like 10,000 views. And I watched them and I thought, these weren't, no disrespect to them, no disrespect. They were quite entertaining, but they were hardly the most intelligent bunch in the world. And I thought, why is it then that they're getting all the views and Kevin isn't? And by default,
I don't care about how many views I get, but what we do care about is the part of the Ball Explorer group is how many views you get.
Yeah, of course you do. That's right.
But it would be lovely for more viewers to come over to me and to like some of my stuff. But in all seriousness, no. But the thing is, you said about a VW. The VW camper vans are the go-to vehicles. Yeah, because everybody wants them. And that's why they're expensive.
But I wasn't... You see, I thought, get an ordinary van, a van that looks like a van. It's not a camper van. A van that like a Transit or a VW Transporter or something like that. Nice one. And what you do, instead of all this rigmarole with having fridges and toilets and all of that kind of stuff, you'd have a Z bed which folds up, put against the wall. You could have a portable toilet which folds up and sticks against the wall, and all the bits and bobs. And you just pull them out when you need them, because the van could also gather wood, move stuff, be useful for other purposes. But a camper van, once it's all built in, and I've looked at them online, you're sort of, that's it. But I also need this vehicle as a runaround vehicle.
Yeah, and of course the other issue you've got, which I think you did mention in the Naked Englishman this morning, is access to the back of your place. So the vehicle's got to be able to be driven or reversed up
my passage, yeah,
up your back passage.
Exactly, that is a problem.
But I think, there are ways of doing it, Richard. But I don't think you want to just go for a totally basic van.
Well, I want a nice one. I mean, that's the thing. I was looking at, how much is a nice one? Doesn't have to be brand spanking new because I haven't got that sort of money. But when I was looking at things at around 10 grand, I was like, oh my God, 170,000 miles already. I don't know how much a van will go, but my car is on that, and it's getting to the point where it's like, and so I mean, I was thinking I need a van that's got about less than 50,000 on the clock, preferably less than 20, maybe less than 30, somewhere around there, for about 10 grand. But they had like 15, 20, 25 grand, and you're thinking, oh my, for a nice one that will be lovely to drive. Because I want to enjoy driving it. Because my car, I don't enjoy driving it. It's, it's knackered. It's clunk. I've got to have something that actually I can be stuck in traffic with the air conditioning on and actually enjoy the fact that I'm in the traffic above everybody else, snooty as anything, and that I enjoy moving slowly like a worm through the traffic and then get onto a bit of road. I know that I can't drive the speeds that I can in my car in a van, so I would have a different mentality. Now I'm driving a van or a milk float, whichever it is, double-decker bus, and it would have its own personality driving and that stuff. But the price to do this, it seems just, and I don't want an old banger van that I'm going to get up the M1 and then clunk out and somebody says your big end's gone.
Yeah. My son and my nephew, they've got, I think it's called a Vauxhall Vivaro.
Oh, yes, I've seen those.
And my son's is slightly higher spec than my nephew's, but it's got everything in there. It's got sat nav, it's got air conditioning, and the seats are really, really comfortable. And my son, with his business partner, they've just built a platform with storage underneath. He's a plumber and heating engineer, and there are ways that you can convert a van so you've got additional storing underneath, which would be great for you, because that means that if you went off somewhere, you could, the stuff would be hidden underneath, no one can see it, and the van's relatively safe, or as safe as any vehicle is, I suppose, if you leave it at the side of the road or in a parking space somewhere.
Yes, I mean, I can. I mean, the thing is, I can't even get to that point. I could kit it all out myself, and so I could have it so that I can shove some stuff in if I wanted to bung some logs underneath. I mean, I've seen these vans where the beds are sort of like halfway up, and you think, gosh, okay, I'm not quite keen on that. I like to sit up in bed and read and things like that. And covet my logs and stroke them and snuggle up to them and that sort of stuff before they, exterminated on the Essie with all the little bugs inside them going, no! But it's the cost. How much did your son's van cost him?
Actually, I can't remember the exact cost, but it came from a commercial vehicle centre in down towards Southampton, Ringwood. I bought my van from them. My van cost me about 7 grand.
And how yours is smaller than a Transit, but how much on the clock?
On mine, it was very low. It's only got 48,000 on the clock now.
Blimey! And for that 7, you see, that's, I mean, I would be able to, once my dad's house is sold, I would have £10,000 to invest in a nice van, which I would hope would last me 10 years.
Oh, absolutely. The thing is, my son, take my son's Vivaro.
All right, thanks. That's very kind. Gosh, how lovely is that? I mean, I didn't expect that. I mean, that is just so generous. Ask him to bring it over if that would be all right.
I'll ask you to plug your new sink in as well.
Yeah. Take his Vivaro. Lovely.
Yeah, but something like that, I think you'd be okay to get to the back of your place.
You could. There's everything
you need.
Yeah, they used to have a Transit in the back where I live. They used to get a train. I mean, you have to drive very carefully, and I've only got one eye, so what could possibly go wrong, apart from knocking my wing mirrors off, which is what I constantly do. But I would be, less impatient when it was a not brand new, but a sparkling new. When it's dented a bit, I don't care,
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
But
but I just thought I'd ring in just to mention that. I thought it was important because I know you sort of ummed and ahed about it, but this is your job, this is your business.
Yeah.
This is how you make a living, and be able to try. But for you to be able to get out and get out and about as and when you want to, stay away for as long as you want to, and you've got no Airbnb costs or anything like that. So it just gives you that freedom, Richard. And I think that'd be a great move for you.
Well, there we are. So I've had one negative for the van and one positive for the van. And Turbo, don't get too upset. I'm just taking this in fun.
I'm looking at some of the comments. They're also, several people are saying Kevin's talking sense, Richard. So.
Yes, I noticed that one. I thought that must be a misprint. Turbo Stream there says proper camper vans hold their money a bit longer than a plain van will. But I don't.
That's true.
That may be true, but see, I'm not worried. Whenever I buy anything, I'm not actually worried about trying to hold things value, because with me, everything falls apart and just eventually So I would have this van that's really, really good until it was just to the point where it would be unviable to put it back on the road because the wheels were just,
Yeah, actually, Audrey's made a good point. And a van will be tax deductible.
Oh, then that's what we're having. Tax deductible, I'm up for that. The way the government spends their money on subsidies to make farmers have monoculture, I'll have some of that money back for my own monoculture.
There you go. Anyway, Richard,
yes.
I've taken up a huge amount of your time.
No, it's very interesting. Only to me, but to the rest it's bored them senseless. But that's okay. They need to be bored a bit.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you so much, Kevin, and it's very nice to hear you because we've missed you.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I've just been taking a little bit of a step back from Facebook. Well, not completely from Facebook, but I've been taking a little bit of a step back and just not trying to get involved with too much stuff. Just working on my videos for my little channel, and I've just started a new Facebook page. So
when you do stand with your back to France at the top of Beachy Head, don't step back. That's the time not to step back, because we would genuinely miss you, and the red isn't a good colour on those white cliffs.
Yeah, no, it's not. No. I'll wear blue.
Yeah, wear blue, and blue blood, of course, because you're one of the royal halls, aren't you?
I am. Don't tell people that, otherwise they want to come and see my palace.
Yes, the halls of residence. Anyway, lovely to talk to you, and thank you for calling in.
Cheers, Richard. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
So there we are. That was a wrong number. Sorry about that. Calling in on the show. It can happen from time to time. People call in and make all sorts of spurious remarks. But it is true. Kevin is absolutely right. It's a lovely... By the way, Kevin's Rambles is his YouTube channel. If you put in Kevin's Rambles, you will see a rambling man through the undergrowth. He's very entertaining. So do check him out on the Tube of Views. He's a good bloke. It's our Kevin. We like Kevin. And I must get round to... I haven't seen Kevin since Breakdown. Since he broke down. No, since his van broke... No, wait till... since we all got broken down by the government in the COVID exit. Anyway, so I don't know what to do about this bloody van. I mean, on the one hand, it's like, because I need something... It's got to have multi-uses. I want to be able to... You see, one of the things I want to do... I will get to the videos. We've got some fantastic videos, so we will get to that. Don't panic. One of the things I really want to do is just wake up somewhere at 6 a.m. and be there. Rather than at the moment... And I know I'll have to wait now till next year because the nights are drawing in and the mornings are getting darker every day now. We're heading towards, the big winter and the cold. But I'd like to just wake up at 5 or 6 and step out and start filming and going, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. There's nobody here. Look, reindeer leaping across the heathland. Reindeer. Oh no, rabbits. Sorry, they're rabbits, dear. Rabbits are leaping across the... And I'd just love to be able to do that rather than at the moment going, I've got to go somewhere. I've got to be back by 4 because I'm reading a fantastic book to the lovely audience, Wisdom of the Fields, by the way, which we had a terrific reading this afternoon. It is available now as a podcast. If you go to Anchor FM and put in Bald Explorer at Anchor FM, and you will get the podcast from today. The patrons will get it tomorrow. If I remember to send it to them. But you don't have to listen, of course, it's a load of old nonsense. But I want to be able to wake up and have more of a story than just being there, driving there, getting there, and then going, hello, I'm Richard Vobes, and I'm just going to walk from point A to point B. I want more of a story on the Bald Explorer. I want to be able to say, right, okay, this week I'm touring around. I'm going to park up. This doesn't look like a good place to park. I wonder if there's undesirables in the next field. They might come and beat me up in the night and rock the van. You know, we want a bit of drama, don't we? We want a bit of drama. That's what I feel that is missing from the Bald. It's just too samey, to quote somebody. I hope isn't watching. Gloria Stagg is there, says, agree with Vandemonium. Is a very informative, and he is a canaler too, Vandemonium. Yeah, I love my van, says Turbo Stream. It's my only vehicle. Also, why are you trying to put me off? Why are you trying to put me off? Why are you doing it to me, Adrian? Why are you doing it to me? How could you? Up there in Birmingham. You just want all the van stuff to yourself, don't you? You. Stephen, Mike Stevens even says, buy Kevin. Buy Kevin. You can buy Kevin, you can get one free as well, actually, if you buy one. Andrew Norris says, my dad too. Tax deductible. Audrey believes me. I know it's tax deductible. Robert Croser is an accountant, you see. We've got another phone call. He's going to go to a video, but no, don't. Let's find out who this is calling up on the show. Hello, mystery caller.
Good evening, Mr. Vobes.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
Is that the lovely Gabriel?
Yes.
From Glastonbury.
The very same.
Oh, it's so nice to hear you. Do you know I met you recently?
I believe you did, didn't you?
I did, yes, in person, in the flesh.
And a very enjoyable meeting it was too.
Well, I've still got the stomach rot from it, but I'm getting over it. Thank you for asking. How are you? It's Gabriel from Glastonbury, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Woo!
Woo! Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I just thought I'd ring up and stick my 2 pans in, if I may.
Yes,
please.
of course. Hang on, let me get a big pan. There we are.
Okay.
Throw it into that.
Okay, hang on. There you go. You see.
Excellent. Fire away. I'm all ears, like Bugs Bunny might have said.
Vans.
Yeah, vans.
It's something I can talk about from experience. I had a transit van for a while as my main vehicle.
Yes.
Because at the time I was photographing bands at festivals and things, and it made a lot of sense just to turn up, turn off the key, and you're there. And that is the whole thing of a van. You turn up, turn off the key, you've arrived, and you are there. But I would completely agree, you need an ordinary van. Do not go down the Gym Palace route. You need an ordinary van which you can use for other purposes, like you say, getting your firewood. And also it has different insurance connotations as well. But And I would also suggest that what Kevin Hall said was bang on. Get an awning. Because I had my van for a while without an awning, and then I bought a second-hand one, just the sort of bolts along the side, and you pull it out and the legs fold down. And I tell you what, it transforms those vans, having an awning. Because when you are set up at night, you know, a van is all right, but there's not so much moving around, but you can put a table out, you can put a cooker out. You do need an awning. The one thing that changed my van ownership from something that was quite handy to something that was really enjoyable was having an awning on the side.
So tell me, can you fit an awning on most vans?
Yes, you buy them. They're like an old, big, long box, about, 6 inches square.
It's a small awning. Literally. It's a small awning, that, isn't it? 6 inches. I never get in it. You said it had more space than being in the van. I mean, I'm a smallish guy, but I'm not tiny.
Well, it's about 10 foot long, but about 6 inches square, maybe a bit more. And
okay.
You drill holes in the side of your van,
what?
Which takes a bit of confidence.
Yes.
And then you bolt this on, obviously, with some sealant around the holes, and that is it.
Oh, I see.
And it transforms it. And then you pull it out. Literally, you pull it out, and then it has legs that fold down.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they come with sides that you can clip on.
Yes.
It turns into like a small tent on the side. But I mean, just having the roof bit's nice, but if you can get the sides as well, it will transform. It changes the way you look at life having a van.
Yeah.
It really does.
I'm sure it will. I mean, even if I'm not going for weeks and weeks, but it's just it's the freedom to think, I want to do a set of videos Even just going to sort of I had this idea about doing a set of videos where I walk the border of Sussex between the different counties that it's, Hampshire, Surrey and Kent, and just do like a border, series. Borderlands.
Borderlands.
And it's not far to some of the borders, but some of the other borders are much, much further. And I thought, well, if I'm doing that, I could just kip in the van for a couple of days and then come home, and I may have made myself enough videos that I don't need to go out for the rest of the week. After spending 3 days, I may have got 7 videos. Because I could do 2 videos a day. I can do my story about, it's day 3 and I'm in the van. I'll be looking forward to going home and having a nice proper meal because I've only been eating grasshoppers for the last 3 days, and look how thin I am now. But I'm springy in the legs. So even if I don't go, terribly far, but I would, of course, just like to think Northumberland. Let's go up there. Yes. And go for a week in Northumberland, tour around, see some places, and then come back, pop into Glastonbury, Gabriel for a cup of tea, and then whick home on the way. But the initial thing is that it's finding a van that is quality. If I'm going to do this, as Kevin said, it's a business proposition. I don't want to rent. I don't want to do that mortgage thing where you never actually end up buying the van and you're paying $300.
Lease.
I don't want to do any of that. That is the scammiest scam that came out of Scamsville. Because I'm not working for anybody. I'm not in a corporate job that's guaranteed with a pendulum at the end of it. Not a pendulum, a clock, a grandfather. Yeah, a clock with a pendulum in it. And that golden handshake that you get from Dr. No. Is it Dr. No?
Oh, that's the one.
Or is it Goldfinger?
Yeah, that's Dr. No. I can never remember.
I can't. So Julia says that I saw a new VW camper on my way back from Monmouth. Looked all right with mod cons. Wasn't sure if it was hybrid. I say I'm not too worried about the hybrid business and having huge batteries in there to try and get this thing along. I'm desperate to pollute the atmosphere. That's why I've got my Essie. And so whether it's diesel or petrol, of course, that, petrol's quite cheap at the moment. Diesel goes further, but I don't like the particulates. So it's another sort of... But yeah, I mean, a transit van, a nice new model, not one of those old beaten up models with rust.
I think these new ones, they drive like a car now. They really do.
Well, this is the thing. I do want to have it as a comfortable drive because the roads are so busy that I don't want to sort of just have to wait, as you do now, to get onto a nice stretch where you can actually get to 60. I want to be able to drive at 25 miles an hour behind somebody who doesn't know what 30 is and still feel, that's okay, I'm relaxed. Everything feels okay. The car doesn't need to get to a point where it can feel like it's going. Whereas at the moment, my car, if you don't get it up to 50, it's like... It's just sluggish and it's going, oh, for goodness sake, come on, Vobes, put your foot down. It's like, I can't. There's a sudden car in front of me and a car in front of that and a car in front of that and then people and children and ice cream vans, everything.
Other advantages are the amount of money you'll save on Airbnb.
Well, this is the thing is, though, that Turbo did say in his email to me, he said you can get a lot of Airbnbs for your £10,000.
Yes, but you can't take them home with you.
You can't take them
out. You can't carry wood in them, and you can't move things, and you can't do other things.
Well, this is exactly that. And actually, I'm hoping. Do you think a van, realistically, I could get 8 to 10 years out of it?
Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, don't forget they're built to be a commercial vehicle. They're not built for an easy life.
No.
And so they are built, and bearing in mind, the sort of life you'd give a van isn't going to be anywhere near its commercial.
No.
Life.
Yeah.
And another advantage is, and this is something I did, when you get some leisure batteries hooked up and the correct electronics, if you are away for several days, you're not going to come home with a huge backlog of work because you can actually, if you want to, sit with your laptop and work. I used to, because if you can imagine, I'd be taking, I could take over 2,000 images at a festival. Yeah. And, just cataloguing all those and getting them on your hard drive takes time. And I used to sit in my van at night and do that because I had the leisure battery set up. If you get some solar panels as well, you can be self-sufficient, and it's absolutely I don't know what the word is. There's a word for it, but there is a word for it, which is like it's sort of a sense of freedom. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's that. I mean, I know that there's a lot of these digital nomads who are going for slightly more upmarket vans. And I heard a program on Radio 4 where they went to this place and they said, we kit out vans. Everyone is bespoke. And the woman interviewing her said, well, how much? You know, what's the sort of budget price? She said, oh, the starting range just to kit it out is £30,000. And I thought, jeepers. So imagine, say the van is 20 odd grand and they're 30,000 to kit it out. That's 50 grand. But I thought, well, if they're going to live like that for 20 years, it's cheaper than buying a house.
Yeah. And if you think what these gym palaces are on the road that they drive around in for 2 weeks of the year, they cost a fortune.
But I don't. You see, that's the thing. I don't want any of that nonsense because also I don't think that would be me in the thing. I would much. You see, I've got comedy ideas. I want to have a kitchen sink.
Yes.
That I pull out the van. And it's got wooden legs, and you just open these wooden legs, and it's a proper kitchen sink. You know, one of these aluminium jobs, aluminum job, just for
aluminum.
That you do like that.
Aluminum.
You have a little foot pump and a bucket of water that pumps the water into the tap, and so you can turn the tap on, you can pump it like that, wash your dishes. And I just, because I think visually, and I think this would be very, you know, people would love it. You've got to have a USP. You've got to look like a bit of fun. I want people to go, that bald explorer, he's not that boring bloke who used to go, hello, I'm Richard Vobes, wondering about. No. He's this interesting bloke who comes out with these he's quirky, but he's interesting, and he's got time to look up Wikipedia and a few facts. And in the evening, and Jeff is building this marvellous bit of the TARDIS. You know, the TARDIS has that central column that goes up and down. He is building one of those as a portable computer, he says. And he says you're going to be able to edit on the fly. On the fly. Either that, edit flies on the go, I don't know.
Why don't you squash it?
It will when it goes down, but that's part of it because you get a nice flying...
crunching sound.
You do get a crunching sound. So I think that and some of those UPVC double glazed PV cells, solar panels that aren't actually UPVC or double glazed, the panels, shove some of those up, an awning, because the awning will be much cheaper than the van, let's face it.
Yeah. And of course, with solar panels now, if you ever watched Foxes Afloat, they use them on their boat. You can actually get them. They stick down. They're no longer solid, like almost like double glazing panels anymore. They're actually like sticky back plastic, and you can actually glue them to the roof of your vehicle.
Wonderful.
Which makes them invisible from the ground. Because one thing you don't really want to advertise is the fact there's someone living in the van.
No, that's right.
You want it stealthy.
I want it stealthy. I'm going to have something stenciled on the side of the van, something like Quaffit's Industrial Veg Cleaner.
Kitchen sink purveyors, that's it.
Yeah, so people go,
purveyors of kitchen sink.
Yeah, we just pervade them. And, you don't want anything like that. This is just an order, because, the last thing I want to put on there is, this van has somebody in it.
Yes.
At night time.
Yeah. Purveyors of stuff. That's it.
Nigel Sanders got a good idea, though. Very tempted now to buy a traction engine with a trailer because it's got a SE on board. It
has got an SE on board. Parking that in Morrison's causes a bit of a stir, though.
Yeah, chopping trees down as you go might be a bit, they're sticking them in as you go. Yeah. Thank you for that, Glastonbury. That's we've tipped the balance in favour of a plain van again now.
I think it's the way forwards. It's definitely the way forward.
Well, I wouldn't be driving it backwards for long, not with my eyesight.
And they get one of those nice black ones with like the black windows in the side that you can barely see, and you can still see out, but nobody can see in.
Oh yeah. So,
they look quite nice.
Would they look like somebody's living in that van? Actually, I thought no windows probably a good idea. Just open the door.
No, because you often get quite a common one, which was a window on the sliding door on the Transit.
Oh yeah.
That was quite a common conversion. But with the bonded windows now that you see in modern vans that are blacked out and they've got like a little slidey bit in them that opens up, they use them on canal boats as well now. And they are very, very... You can't see in, but they don't look that much like a window either because they're black.
Linda Kane says a second-hand hearse would be good.
That would be good, but you can't sit up in them. They're designed more for laying down in.
Yeah, and I do need to sit up.
Sitting up is a good one.
Absolutely. Well,
anyway, listen, I'm taking up all of your show, so I'm going to go away and let you get on with it.
All right, and we've got a video of yours to show a little bit later on, which is very nice. A lot of slow-mo in there, I noticed.
Yeah, a little bit of slow-mo.
Just
Not too much.
Just a little bit. All right, lovely. Just a little bit. Anyway, lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much, Gabriel.
And thank you for talking to me, and it's lovely talking to you.
Take care, look after yourself.
Bye, buddy.
Bye. Bye-bye. There we are, lovely Gabriel. So we've tipped the balance, ladies and gentlemen. 2 to 1, 2 to 1. Don't take it to heart, Turbo, because I know you mean well. But it's a lot of interesting stuff that you said about condensation and how the body breathes, and if you fart in a box. I understand it all. Let us, instead of no more phone calls, instead of any phone calls, let us take a break from this riveting conversation that I'm finding interesting and you're just tolerating by going into the video box. And now Alan has sent a film. Skiro? Is that how you pronounce your name? Alan, are you watching? Skiro, I think, is your surname. And he has this fascinating video we're going to watch now.
Absolutely stonking.
So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. I've no idea where that is. That was from Alan Skiro, and I'm just looking. I just looked to see if he'd left a message of where that was. No idea, but fantastic, lovely, calming atmosphere. Very, very calming. So thank you very much for sending that in. A couple of things I wanted to point out. One was I love Ben Reeve. Ben Reeve, I think that's genius. He says Dickie Vobes dung removal services painted on the side might deter thieves. I think dung removals would be brilliant. And I think, seriously, you could do that. People who are in the know would go, oh, yeah, that's Vobes. And those that don't wouldn't. Instead of putting Bald Explorer on like I have on my car, something like that, dung removal, Dickie Vobes's dung removal, I think that would be hilarious. Because who is actually going to go and bother to have a look inside there if it's covered in dung? The last thing you want if you're a thief is to get it on your clothes and smell of the crime that you've, smell the grime when you've done the crime. Nobody wants to do that. So I think that's very good. Brilliant idea. Thank you, Turbo Stream, for your comment there. It's your van. It's your thing. Do as you like. No right or wrong answer, of course. And I appreciate I'm only using you as nobody else has said no, don't do it, as far as I know. So I'm just, I've always put somebody in the mean corner. So you're my Darth Vader at the moment. So that's very good. What beach is that? I've no idea. Oh, here we go. Alan is there. Hello, Alan. It's in Guernsey. Fantastic. It is. He just said where it was, and I just moved the thing. It's Sights and Sounds. Beautiful. Lovely. Fermain Bay. Fermain Bay. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Alan. That was really nice. Not only that, it was stonking. Don't know if you noticed it was stonking. Guernsey. Yeah, Guernsey. So how about that? That's lovely. The other thing about the van, just going back to the van, we've got some more videos and we're going to crack on with those. But the thing about the van also is I'm still thinking about this bit of land that I want with my farm idea. And I'm going to need a van. I'm going to need a van for picking and taking and all of that. So, and there is this bit of land somebody showed me earlier today. And there's this land up north, just north in Shropshire. And it's 2.2 acres. So it's not huge, but although I've seen the pictures and it looks actually massive, next to a canal. Well, my initial thoughts was wherever I get land, I'm probably going to want to stay there a few days. Now, I understand you can't just bung a caravan on there because that is problematic and you'll get people towing it away and what have you. But you could turn up in a van, do what your work is, live in the van for a few days, then go back home, clean yourself up, go back again, stay, so you could come and go on a van on your own bit of land. I don't think anyone could stop you doing that. If you own the land, you're in a temporary vehicle and it's not permanently there. So I think that could be a goer. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Interested in your thoughts if you've got a point of view. We're going to play another video just to go straight into one. So let's have a look in the old video box. And David Chamberlain, the lovely David Chamberlain, sent this in a few weeks ago and I promptly lost it. Said, oh, I've got it. Promptly didn't show it. Remember, David Chamberlain is Dubai Dozen. He is in Dubai. And you may remember, 6 months ago now, he sent us a video and he showed us, it can't have been 6 months because he had the masks on, but it seems like a long time ago. And he showed us what it was like in Dubai, and we were looking at that going, but it's not green. It's not very green. Well, to show off some of the green side, he's been out with his camera. He's tackled DaVinci Resolve, and he's put this together just for us.
Wish that I could find the words to describe you now, as I'm lying next to you and the world goes quiet. Wish that I could make you see how you fit me perfectly, and I fall for you again. We've been through it all. You're the one who understands. how you fit me perfectly, and I fall for you again. We've been through it all. You're the one who understands.
So there we are. Dubai Dozen. Thank you very much. Let's just hope that that wasn't copyright music. Otherwise, I'm stuffed. I have no idea. No, it's probably not, because it's going to be on his YouTube channel. Nobody wants a copyright strike these days. Oh, stop it. Lovely. There we are. Apparently, Dubai has the best sunsets ever, according to David Chamberlain. David Chamberlain is my hero at the moment, by the way. We had some very nice gifts. Here's my own personal mode of transport at the moment, which is a bus with a load of snuff in the top. It's a snuff, and I can't open it. And I've been enjoying some of the tea from some of the others, which has been lovely. And also, of course, he very kindly provided the house in Torquay. Not Torquay, in somewhere else. Wiltshire, yes, in Calne. And he also gave me a gift which I have yet to sort of set up. And when I've got it all set up, I'll let you know what it is. But until then, it's under the counter. You're right down there. I call it Jemima. Anyway, so that was it. Jeff Kellen says, I wouldn't care if it's green or not. It's blooming economy. And I can't speak for you guys, but I've made exactly half last year of what I did in 1984. Hang on, I've got to work that out. I wouldn't care if it's green or not. It's a booming economy. And I can't speak for you guys, but I made exactly half last year of what I did in 1984. In 1984, did you have an amazing year, or a really bad year, or an average year? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I'm glad you said it. Love that music, says Val Pragnell. Any idea what it's called? No idea, I'm afraid. I don't know if David is actually there. He might watch this later on. Sometimes he watches it after the event. Ben Reeves says, talking of sunsets, tomorrow is the anniversary of the last total solar eclipse. I remember it as if I was clearing runway weeds and it was so busy at 6 a.m. Oh, wait a minute. It's the anniversary of the last UK total solar eclipse. What a weird thing to celebrate. It's the anniversary of the last... When is the next one then? Is there not a next one in this lifetime or something? Great video, says Michael White. Lovely Julia says, I look forward to catching up properly with the rewatch. I love what I've seen and heard so far. Thank you very much. I don't know why I've got this here. There was a reason I had this here, because I was going to type something. I don't know if Josephine Souter is there, but I just wanted to say a big thank you for this that came in the post this week. Meadowland, which was a lovely book. I believe Julia's got the same book, but I haven't read it yet. So I'm very much looking forward to that, because it's all about meadows. So that was very kind. Sent as a birthday present. That was. It's very, very nice. Thank you very much indeed. We're going to watch one more video and then we'll open the lines and we can have another phone call. Oh, we know how to live on this show. Do we? Apparently so. Oh, okay. So we've got a little bit of Glastonbury Gabriel, but we're going to keep that till the end because Mike Dixon. Hello there, it's Mike Dixon. Mike Dixon here with Bella. Oh, hello, Bella. How are you doing? Just thought I'd share it with you. Good stuff. We like Mike Dixon. He's in Tottington Woods with a bit of totty-ting. With tottering. He's tottering in Tottington. Who writes this rubbish? Let's go and see Mike and Bella.
Hello Vobesters, it's Mike, Dixon and Bella, and we're out again because it's such a hot sunny day today. We decided to go to Tottington Wood, which is at Small Dull, which is I know an area that Richard and Julia know well. Saw mountains of dragonflies next to the pond. And I thought I'd just share with you this view of the oak trees. And on the ground you see lots of acorns. But the branches and the leaves are creating what the psychologists call fractal patterns. And they're stimulating our alpha waves in our brain. And current research is that that very much boosts our mental health and resilience and our ability to cope with stress and strains of life, which I must say, coping with a crisis like this pandemic, it's got to be beneficial. To show you close up of the bark, we've heard woodpeckers and loads of different birds here in Tottington Wood, which is owned by the Woodland Trust. Anyway, just share that with you. Loads of beautiful oak trees. It's amazing, they're doing a lot of work down here, improving the pond area and the wildlife, and protecting some of the younger trees from deer, which would love to eat them. Anyway, I thought I'd just share with you some of the beauty of Tottington Wood, and hopefully some of these fractal patterns have stimulated the alpha waves in your brain, and hopefully will boost collectively our mental health. Certainly Bella loves them. She loves it down here. Very beautiful and thankfully cool. Okay, I'll pass you back to Richard. Take care. Bye.
Oh, the alpha waves are doing in my brain. Thank you so much, Mike Dixon. That's marvellous. Love those oak trees. Really love those oak trees. I was just sort of going, oh, lovely to be out there in a forest, in a woodland environment. And I thought, actually, tomorrow I am doing that. I am interviewing a woman who does forest bathing as a profession. No idea what that means. I'm assuming that she makes a bath out of twiglets. That's what I'm assuming. I think my mind is playing tricks on me, of course. It must be the alpha waves. The alpha waves. Lovely to see Bella, by the way. He's a lovely fella, that Bella. So thanks for that, Mike. Look forward to the next one, of course. And Peter Lowry says he's going to send one in on Wednesday, and we hope the lovely Julia will be here to unwrap it, which will be great. So that's really nice. Sean says, when are you thinking of getting a van? Any news on the house sale? The house sale's gone through the roof, and so we've had to put it back on the market. And so now we're playing the game all over again. Can you believe it? Somebody who said that cover, Roger Deakin. Yes, there we go. Days of Yore. Blimey, that just reminded me of a book cover by Roger Deakin. And do you know, I was trying to find the book. I have got a book. Wait a minute. There you go. Look at that. Wildwood, A Journey Through the Trees by Roger Deakin. It's a fabulous book. I enjoyed reading this. I've read it, yeah. I enjoyed reading this. It's a lovely, lovely book. Recommend it to you. You can't have my version because I don't like to lend books out generally because I love them too much. Yeah, so there we are. Roger Deakins, fancy that. He, if I remember right, he died unfortunately too young, and he was into swimming, wasn't he? He was into that wild swimming. So I've read Wildwood, says Ed Wolf. Yes, they were interesting video. That's not the one, says Days of Yore. Shut up. Of course it's the one. That's exactly the one. Go and ruffle somebody else's fan. Look, I've just found that on my shelf. You're supposed to go, wow, I mentioned a book, he produces it. Gosh, it's like he's a god. Was that not the one? What was the one then? He didn't write very many books, did he? Because I was looking, I mean, I know he's got that one about swimming. He was more, he did poetry, wasn't it? That was his thing. Very poetic. Died very young, I think in his either late 40s or early 50s or something, if I remember. It's a great book, yes, says Andrew Norris, who also knows what he's talking about. There is a hotel nearby called the Tottington, says Mike Dixon. No, I don't lend books to Vobes, says Linda Kane. No, absolutely. Oh, well, wait a minute. I've got your book. I've got it here. We've just not seen each other. Wait a minute. Where has it gone? No, I've got it. It's Narrowboat. It's hang on a minute. It's probably up here somewhere. Just a second. I mean, I've got books in the other room, and also I have got books in here. The story of a Norfolk. No, that's not it. The story of a Norfolk. I have got it. I haven't eaten it, Linda Kane. I have your book. I really do. Let's move on very swiftly. We can take a phone call before we go to our last video. If anybody would like to give us a call, 0793 4746 790 is the phone number which you can pick up and use the dialing tone to make a series of numbers that correspond to those which I just gave out in a sequential order to talk to me. My phone, my ordinary phone, I've had to get shot at. I've had to buy another phone. Very annoyed. I've had to buy another phone, second-hand, of course. Hello, who's that on the phone? Oh, hang on. I'm sitting there sort of talking to you, but I can't hear. Let me try again. Hello, caller. Who's that on the phone?
It's Ed Loud again.
Hello, Ed. How are you?
Round and squidgy as always.
Marvellous. And how's the health?
Not bad. Haven't slept for 3 days, but other than that, good.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
Dear.
However, I've been
dear.
using my sleeplessness to do positive things, so it's not necessarily bad.
Like what sort of positive things? Oh dear.
Well, I took one night to help someone who was struggling with mental health.
Oh.
And then the next night I was doing a 24-hour live stream with some friends raising money for a mental health cause. And then the next day I went to visit my dad and stay with him and keep an eye on him because he'd had a few tough days with his own health. And tonight I'm going to get some sleep.
But before all of that, what you mean by watching my show? Before all of that, thanks. You're in there. Well, you're a hero, of course. So there you go. So what's on your mind?
Sleep.
Sleep.
I stayed up to watch the show.
Yes.
And then I'm still down my dad's, and my dad's internet cut out.
Oh,
so
no.
I've missed nearly the whole show. I was there at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I came back right at there was a video playing. Was it Mike? It sounded like Mike.
Did it say something like this? Hello, Vobesters. Mike Dixon here with Bella. I'm in Tottington Wood at the moment.
I literally caught the last 10 seconds of this video.
In that case, it would have sounded like this. I just thought I'd share it with you. Anyway, back to Richard in the studio. Take care.
Yes, yeah, that's
Goodbye.
The one, something like that.
That's dear old Mike. We like Mike, you see.
That was uncanny. That
was almost him, wasn't it? It was almost him.
Yeah.
Take care.
Almost.
Mike Dixon here. When I've seen a few of them, it's great because Mike's a good mate, and I must go out. He'd been communicating with me for a while, and we did an interview and all that. and we're such on the same wavelength about mental health and the environment and things like that. But COVID got in the way, and we've just not been able to get out and do stuff. And I desperately want to go on a walk with dear old Mike Dixon here with
it's
Bella.
So great that people think about mental health, though. It's a subject close to my heart, and I'm proud to be mentally unhealthy. So it's a subject close to my heart.
Yeah. Well, I think most people. What is? I mean, it's like, what is perfect anything? Because we're all on different spectrums of something, and I don't think that. I mean, there's probably shared things that most people generally have, which we can call good health. But with mental health, there's probably shared things, and then some people get more anxious than others. Some people get more excited. Some people are more prone to depression. Some people more excited. Some people can't sleep. So at what point do you say it's bad or good? It is. We've all got a degree of health, of mental health.
This is what I was more or less saying to my friend the other night, who was going through a rough patch, and a few of us got together and sort of kept watch. We took it in shifts and kept watch. And I was saying to her, like, there's nothing wrong with feeling depressed. Everybody gets depressed. It doesn't mean you've got to label it and, say, oh, I've got depression or I've got this. Everybody gets depressed sometimes. So don't feel bad about it. It's natural. And yes, some people have clinical depression and they need treatment. Other people just need to see their friends, have a chat, take a few days off, and they'll feel better. And I'm glad to say 9 times out of 10 that's the case. But as long as people don't ignore it and they take it seriously, that's the trouble starts when you ignore it or you try and hide it. So that's kind of what I've mentioned, the mental health awareness walks that I take part in, and that's kind of the message, just trying to break the stigma a bit, because there's certain parts of your health that have got a stigma, and mental health's one of the biggest, So anyway, there's me rambling on.
Not at all. We're listening intently, and I think you're right. People, it's because it's so misunderstood, and it's got connotations stuck to it that it shouldn't really have. Because sometimes you can say, "Oh, I've got certain mental health conditions," and then people automatically think, "Oh, you're an axe murderer. You're suddenly, God is talking to you, telling you to sort of stab my eyes out." Well, that's already happened to me, mate. I don't want to have another eye stabbed out. Thank you, even though it was a tiny little bug that did it. I don't want that to happen. So people do sort of say, "Oh, mental health. You're not all there, are you? You're a bit cuckoo." And, of course, we make jokes about that. We're not allowed to now, of course.
I've only you speaking about axe murderers, I've only just got this hilarious mental image out of my head, thanks to one certain Richard Vobes, I won't mention any names, saying that someone's head got cut off and replaced with an Action Man's head in his Obscenely Naked Englishman podcast.
When was that?
Oh, do you know, I was going back into the archives. It must have been about 2 weeks ago now.
Blimey.
And you were talking about when you made your video about how you lost your eye and your life story and everything. And you were saying, well, some people have got a leg missing and you wonder why. And and it's natural to wonder why. And of course, someone's lost their head and it's been replaced with an Action Man's head and it's too small for their shoulders. And I've had that image in my week for days.
It's enough to sort of severely push people over the edge, isn't it?
Oh, it pushed a few of my friends over the edge because I saw an old Action Man doll.
Oh, no.
And I got the giggles.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't actually go and try it out. Slice a head off, put an Action Man's head on. Man, I don't know if that's quite works.
Well, I have actually. I'm just the head. I'm sitting on a shelf as we speak.
Oh, right.
My body's in the other corner.
It's funny because I once wrote this children's television series. Never went anywhere, but I sent it off to Yorkshire Television, as it was. And one of the characters in it was called Head, and he was just literally a head. He was just a head. And he would be barking orders at people because that's all he could do. And of course, somebody else would have to pick him up and move him about. But he would be, you know, the most obnoxious. He was like a sidekick to Dr. Scarpole, as I remember the McNasty was called. Dr. Scarp. I wrote this when I was about 18. And it's just some things stick in your head, don't they? And it was just on this wall, you know, and he was like, "Come on, hurry up!" He was like, you know, the henchman to the second in command. He was the number 2, as in Dr. Evil's number 2, but he was just a head. And he was just his character. He was a head.
I would have paid good money to have seen that.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing. Snug and Cozy. I remember that being on TV, and I didn't realise it was you for months and months and months. I was watching your stuff, your Bold Explorer stuff, and I didn't realise that was you.
Gosh.
And
Cozy.
You said it a few times, and it just went past me, and then all of a sudden I remembered the scene with the car wash and the bed, and it all come back to me.
I wrote a screenplay for Snug and Cozy as well. I wrote this screenplay because I was hoping if we got the 3rd series, which we didn't, but if we'd got the 3rd series, I had this screenplay of Snug and Cozy, how they saved the world and various things, and they had to rebuild their spaceship and all sorts of, you know, amazing adventures. But it never got to that point where I was in a position to be able to sort of put it forward as a thing.
I remember a lot of things all vanished at the same time, because your show vanished, and about the same time, suddenly the Hurricanes vanished.
Yes.
And I was left as a wee 7-year-old boy wondering, Cozy, what's going on here?
Well, I mean, that's you see, the reason we didn't get the 3rd series was not because we weren't good, and that's not me blowing smoke up my bottom, but because we kept getting...
You could probably do that, being a mime artist. I mean, you'd find a way.
I'd be able to milk that. But we had this... We were in the middle of this little political spat between Scottish television and very quickly, here's a bit of gossip for you. What happened was... There was... on ITV at the time, you had ITV Network Centre, who ran the ITV network up and down the land. And you had independent companies like Yorkshire Television, Scottish Television, Southern Television, Granada, all these people who would make programmes, feed them into the network, ITV Network Centre, who would schedule them for Channel 3 ITV all the time. And of course, it was to do with about regional programmes. So if you're in the southern region, you'd get the regional programmes, but there would still be there'd be all the mainstream ones that ITV, that everyone would get, you know, Crown Court or whatever it was on ITV.
No, Art Attack. That was good.
I'm talking about the main program.
Yeah.
Then on children's television, they were all on the main channels, but they were made by these independent companies, right? So you got to a situation where Scottish Television asked this bloke from what was TVS, Television South, got him to join them. And this chap, whose name I'm not going to say, he joined them, and he brought with him the titles of programmes, such as How. Do you remember How? Well,
I do.
How? Boom, 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 boom.
I must admit, I think it passed me by a bit, and I watched Blue Peter.
Right. Okay.
I must admit, I switched over.
Let me finish my story. So there was How, and there was Art Attack. And,
I loved that. That was good.
So there was those two, and so he came over with a number of programmes, and he joined Scottish Television. Scottish Television then sacked him, got rid of him, but kept the programmes. You see, it was a political move. They wanted the programmes, they didn't want him, so they got rid of him. But bad luck to them, because this bloke became head of children's commissioning at the ITV network. And then when it came to Scottish Television's load of programmes, of which we were one and was very successful on our second year and needed the 3rd series to really plant ourselves and have a career going forward, that horrible expression, he turned round and said, I'm not having the Hurricanes. I'm not having Dawdle the Donkey. I'm not having Snug and Cozy. I'm not having... And he went through a whole handful of Scottish Television titles. He kept How and he kept Art Attack because the ratings were too good and he couldn't not have those. But he didn't. And Scottish television were, you know, as soon as he got the job, they knew that they were stuffed. And that's television for you.
Was it these guys' fault that Old Bear Stories vanished as well? Because if it is, I'm going to write a very
I don't know Old Bear Stories, but that is the thing. So
my inner child's getting angry.
We could have had a third series and would have had the third series. Dawn Airy liked it. This other bloke, he would have had it if he hadn't have had this issue. And
why couldn't they have got rid of Wizardora? That used to annoy me.
Wizardora, yeah, I know. Brian Murphy, though.
Brian
Murphy. Wizardora had Brian Murphy in it.
This is my childhood. I switched off from TV after the childhood days. I'm like you. I don't watch TV, and I could watch it twice because I've got two eyes, but I just don't watch it.
Yeah.
You know. But I miss the old kids programs. They were great.
Don't watch BBC. That's all I can say now. Is they're just teaching kids the wrong history and everything. Listen, I need to play another video.
Yeah,
But thank you so much for calling in and telling us about mental health.
I'm off to bed now, so good night, everybody. I'll just catch the end of the show and then I'll be snoring.
Oh, good man.
Bye.
Yeah. Take care, Ed. Lovely to talk to you.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. There we are, Ed Loud disappearing into the land of Nod, and we're going to listen and said, "Cozy, you slimping slam slappert, what you child shimpy." You didn't think you were going to get a little bit of TV politics on this show, did you? I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. Of course I'm not bitter. I'm stuck here on the internet, stuck here with my hands. Oh. Razor sharp hand choppers off on the side. I'm not bitter and twisted like some evil. Actually, do you know what? I think that was probably the best thing for me that ever happened because it meant I didn't get stuck and believe in television. I can tell you, television is the most backward place ever. The backstabbing, the hatred that people have for one another, the I'm better than you, my politics is better than yours. It's such a horrible place, television. And especially now, you can see it seething out of the set. Yes, there's some classic series, and yes, there's occasionally some good dramas and things, probably made by the independents and not by those who've been doing it in there for too long. Incestuous, horrible, nasty thing. So much more free to be out here in the YouTube land and doing one stuff. As long as the people at places like YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all these just don't go too much in their way of trying to stamp out originality, which seems to be what they're trying to do, and they're foolish. They're foolish to do that because all we creators will find an outlet, and without creators and original content, once you get into Blandsville, the audience will march. And on that note, we will now see some very gentle, slow motion stuff from the master himself. It's time for Glastonbury Gabriel. And there it is, a nice little relaxing film to slow you down after the manic nonsense that's come out of my gob. And that's probably what you need. Thanks to much. Put the missing words in there. Very, I think, was supposed to be in there. Thanks very much for thanks. Thank you, Glastonbury. We have a phone call. Nobody wants him to go to bed. Hello, caller. You're calling into the Vobes show.
Just a very quick run from London.
London calling. London calling. Yes, hello, London.
I thought you might find this interesting.
Is this Dave? Is this Dave? Not Dave. Is this Sean? Is this Sean James Cameron? We've got to get, because you've got 3 names. We've got to get them all out. Make the most of it. Is this Sean James Cameron?
Calling from London.
Calling from London, the allotment channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
Week it is.
Yeah.
This week it is.
This week. Next week, who knows? Well, I nearly chopped my hands off.
Give me a check.
Yes, that's true. Right. Anyway, sorry about that. We've got the intro done. I've got myself all squirmed on the chair, where I've got ears listening and waggling in these headphones.
Somebody gave me a check last week.
Somebody gave you a check?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
And I went to the bank on Thursday and it was closed.
Right. They saw you coming.
Because they aren't sticking to their proper times. They're closing whenever now. So I went on Friday and it was closed again.
What? What sort of time are you going to the bank? 3 a.m. is not a sensible time, you know.
Well, they're closing at 2 o'clock. They're closing before they've opened.
Blimey.
Saturday morning, I went.
Yeah.
Closed.
No. What bank is it?
Today,
is it a proper bank? It's not a piggy bank.
Well, I went to 3 banks. So I went today.
Yeah.
I was 9 o'clock on the dot.
Yes.
Waiting outside.
Yes.
I walked in and she said, "Oh, you can do this through your phone."
What, with a check?
I said, "Well, how can I pay a check into my phone?" She said, "You take a picture of the front."
Yes.
And a picture of the back. You put it into their app. You add a few numbers.
Like
Bob's your uncle. Fanny's your aunt. We're all smiling.
So you spent the rest of the afternoon drawing up checks for any inordinate amount of things and just kept shoving them in by your phone. So how do they know that's genuine then?
Well, that's what that's what I want to know.
Sean James Cameron, I pay Sean James Cameron £400,000. No, make it £450,000.
You send me a blank check once this house has gone through, and we'll
just
we'll
add
test it.
Right. Okay. I'll send you. Yeah. See how much so you can. So you're saying you don't need to go to the bank. So this is another reason they can close the bank and get rid of employees. Well.
I'm then leaving the bank.
Yeah.
She says, "Can I give you this, sir?" I had a quick look at it.
What?
This branch is closed in September the 12th.
Oh, she gave you a little leaflet saying, "We don't want you, mate. We don't want your service. We don't want your."
After we had argued because I didn't have a mask on.
Well, you missed that bit out, didn't you?
That's another debate.
You can't come in here without a mask. Wait, this is a bank, isn't it?
Local bank down, but you can do it on your phone. Well, that's the future.
Yeah, they're getting rid of cash. You see, they're going to get rid of cash, so that we don't have to carry it in our pockets, and that all your transactions, everything that you do with your money, is traceable, recordable, and tax unavoidable.
And also, I heard something. When I did used to work in that backstabbing industry called TV,
yes,
that a law had gone. Well, they don't stab you in the back now; they stab you in the front while they're still having a conversation.
Yeah, they cut your throat in the jugular and say, "Come on, give us more ideas that we can nick."
Yeah,
we're not bitter.
I forgot my train of thought.
You said that when you worked for that, you were having a conversation.
You just give me a flashback to when I worked for ITV, and somebody had ballsed up.
Yeah.
And he just turned around to the director and went, "Sean did it." I said, "I wasn't even in the bloody room."
That's an outrage. It is an outrage. Yeah. Backstabbing people.
Right. What was I saying?
You were saying, you were reminded because you were talking about the banks and getting rid of money. And
yes, that we did a story at ITV about a new law that had gone through, but nobody else seemed to pick up this story.
How long ago is this?
And it went under the carpet about that if you owe over a certain amount of tax and you don't give it to the taxman, they can now legally take it from your bank account as long as they leave you with I think it's £10,000. So if you owed 20, they wouldn't take the whole lot if the balance was then down to zero. But this law got passed about 7 years ago, and nobody seems to have made a fuss about it.
No, because probably nobody ever knew about it.
Yeah, it was one of these ones. Get it out at 6:05 in the morning.
Oh, just think how many fascinating news stories that are so important to us happened during the first 3 weeks of COVID, when we're all going, oh my God, we're all going to die. By the way, on the BBC, if you owe us any money, we have the right to. But meanwhile, COVID is really bad. Oh, crikey. In fact, everybody's house is going to be repossessed. But COVID, another day of COVID, there's 45,000 deaths are happening all over the place. But don't worry, your house will only be repossessed once.
Well, if you think about it, since the News of the World shut up shop,
yes,
I think quite a lot of people were probably quite pleased at that, because they were allowed to just get on with their dodgy dealings.
Get on with their dodgy dealings and not be exposed in the weekly Sunday Red Top. What's this? When I worked for the Radio Times, says Michael White, in the 80s, I got sent a cheque for someone else with the same name as mine. They owed me 180 quid and him 2,300. I didn't spend it honestly. No, of course you didn't spend it honestly. You spent it illegally. We know what you mean.
When I was in university, I had £50 a month. £50 a month appear in my account, and I didn't know where it had come from. And the bank said, "Well, if it's still there in a week, just spend it."
Is that what they said?
So I did.
When I lived in Harrow, which is just down from Harrow on the Hill.
Were you on the hill?
I wasn't on the hill. I was just down on the hill. We've got to finish the show, but when I lived in Harrow, when I was 20, something like that, 20. I lived in London. Why I lived in London, I don't know. But I lived in London, and I wanted to be an actor and all this sort of nonsense. And I had digs. I was a lodger in somebody's house, and I said, look, and this is the days before mobile phones. And I said, look, I'm going to need a phone, but I need my own phone, and I'll pay for it. Is it all right if I have a line put in? And the lady at the house said, yeah, there's no problem at all. You can do that. Because I was going to stay there for some time. I said, well, it's all right. So I got hold of BT, and they had to put a line in. And I had this telephone line. I could make calls, and I was very cautious with making the calls, especially when I didn't get a bill. 3 months went past. I thought, well, that's a quarter, and there's still no bill. I've got to be a bit anxious here now, because when the bill comes in, it's going to be very high if I keep using ringing up agents. Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, don't you know? I could be useful to. Yeah, go away. Ring us again. Hello, I'm Richard Vobes. No, not immediately. Oh, sorry. So in the end, a year went past, and I didn't have a bill. And then suddenly I decided I was going to leave this digs. And I had this quandary. Should I tell the BT that I'm telling them now, of course. I'm telling them now, not telling you the number I had. I don't live in there, and I live in a Welsh village somewhere in Carmarthenshire. Yeah, exactly. And anyway, I had this quandary. Should I tell them or shouldn't I tell them? And I was getting a bit nervous because will they track me down and all of this. And then I had this phone call from somebody, and it was somebody who said, hello, Harrow Market. I said, no, not Harrow Market. Got the wrong number. And they said, is that 491 4911? I said, yes. That's Harrow Market, isn't it? I said, no. And I thought, I wonder if I've got Harrow Market's number and they've been paying my bill all this year.
Well, no wonder you didn't get a job. They were phoning the market.
Yes, I kept that. Well, I didn't get all these phone calls. I mean, that was the only one I got. But there you go. So anyway, I took the phone, which I never got a bill for. I left the line in there and I left.
I had a similar thing where I rented out an apartment and never got an electric bill.
There you go. You see, now I'm expecting.
The guy downstairs, he said, I don't know why, I'm just a single person, but
my bill's gone up ever so much.
Yeah, the electric's gone up this year.
It's well, it's like I'm expecting now somebody to knock on the door. Hello, I'm from BT. I was listening to your show the other day. I understand that you owe us a year's worth of. We could desperately do with that money at the moment because nobody's paying us enough money because they're all bloody on WhatsApp and all these other things, Zoom. Anyway, better end the show, but thank you very much for sharing that. Going down the bank, not wearing a mask, having to wear a mask. What is it coming to? Warren Beatty. There we are. What Warren Beatty has anything to do with it? But there you go. Thank you so much, Sean. We'll talk to you again.
Bye.
Bye-bye. There we are. That was London. That was London calling us to say, get off the airwaves. You've had your stuff. Got to get up nice and early. I've got to give the lovely Julia a phone call to tell her that I'm coming over at 9:30 in the morning to pick her up so we can go forest bathing. And we interview this lady tomorrow morning. So, thank you so much for watching. It's been fantastic. Thank you for your videos. They've been marvellous, absolutely marvellous. Keep them coming. Looking forward to Peter Lowry's and yours on Wednesday. Information on how to send them to me is in the description on YouTube. And thank you to Judith for moderating, to the lovely Julia for also moderating, to lovely Joseph, who's a year old now and is able to look after himself and earn some money. And keep Julia in the wonderful way that she has enjoyed. And thank you to you lot for watching, for phone calls, for messages and all of that, keeping us afloat, and for your advice about vans. Very much appreciated. So there we go. That wraps it all up. Thank you so much. Look after yourself. I've got to go somewhere, do something. God knows what. So that's it. Take care and goodbye. Goodbye. I'm working that handle by myself. Bye-bye. What? That's better. Goodbye.